Bonjour, French 1 students. Here is your teaching video for Lesson 7, C and D, pages 98 through 101 in your textbook. Again, we're going to start with a little review because it's very, very important that you know and understand how to conjugate regular ER verbs. So again, remember, we're always going to start with our infinitive. That's the form that we see in our textbook on a vocabulary list. If we were to look up a new verb in a dictionary, you would get the infinitive form. You're going to take off the ER, which gives you your stem, and then to your stem you should add. For je, you're going to add an E. For tu, you're going to add ES. For il or L singular, you're going to add an E. For nu, you're going to add ONS. For vous, you're going to add EZ. And for il and L pluriel, you're going to add ENT. Remember, for GER verbs in the new form, you're going to add EONS. When you pronounce these, remember the ones in the boot. Okay, when you conjugate them, they sound the same. So we're going to take a look at the verb jouer, okay, which means to play. Again, our stem here is the JOU, because that's the part of this infinitive without the ER on it. So JOU, and I add an E. JOU, I add an ES. JOU, I add an E. JOU, I add an ONS. JOU, I add an EZ. And JOU, I add an ENT. S'il vous plaît, répétez jouer, je joue, tu joues, il joue, nous jouons, vous jouez, elle joue. So again, that's just another example of regular ER verbs. Today we're going to talk about negative sentences. And the format of negative sentences is subject, ne, verb, pas, and then whatever else is in that sentence. Okay, ne, because it's a short little word in French, becomes an apostrophe before a vowel or a silent H. Now this really is sort of review because you already were making sentences with être in them negative by putting ne and pas around être. We just apply this now to all verbs, including all these new regular ER verbs that you've learned. So if I look at an example, if I want to say I listen to the radio, let's write that sentence first, which is not a negative sentence, but this is a good practice. So the subject for I is je. Listen is écouter, right? And that's my infinitive. So I'm going to take off my ER. So I have écoute. And I add an E because it's je. To the radio is just la radio. The tu is part of the verb écouter. Now, one little thing I have to fix with this, right? Because I have je and écoute and two vowels together. So this becomes J apostrophe. So I listen to the radio is j'écoute la radio. So now let's make this negative and I don't listen to the radio. Again, écoute is my verb. So I'm going to put my ne and my pas around my verb. So I have je, ne, écoute, pas, la, radio. And again, ne, we said, before a vowel or a silent H becomes an apostrophe. So it's going to be an apostrophe. So je n'écoute pas la radio. So really making sentences negative, no different than what you were doing with être. Adverbs. Adverbs are kind of describing. They describe or modify the action of a verb. For example, I walk slowly. Slowly is an adverb. It's describing how you walk. Now, in French or in English, oftentimes our adverbs come before our verbs. For example, we often have dinner at a restaurant. Often is an adverb, and notice it comes before the verb in the sentence. However, in French, it is not that way. Okay, so the format of a sentence in French is, again, we have our subject, our verb, then we always have our adverb, and then whatever else is in that sentence. So if we take a look at this, the word for often is souvent. Okay. So if we want to write this sentence in French, we, right, that's the subject, nous. We want have dinner, so that's the verb dîner. But I need to conjugate it for nous, so here's my stem. And what do I add? ONS. Now I need my often because it goes right after my verb. And then at a restaurant is restaurant. So we often have dinner at a restaurant is nous dînons souvent au restaurant. Again, this adverb, souvent, comes right after our verb. Okay, and that is the case in all French sentences. Also in French, you can have two verbs in a sentence. When you have two verbs in one sentence, the first verb is always conjugated to match the subject. And the second verb is in its infinitive form. And if it's a negative and it has two verbs in their sentence, the ne and the pas goes around the conjugated verb. So the first verb. So if I want to write the sentence, they don't like to study. So they, we'll just assume it's a mixed group, so we'll say ils. Now the verb for to like, that's aimer. And the verb for to study is étudier. So I have two verbs in this sentence. Aimer is the first one, so it's going to be conjugated to match ils, and I have to make it negative. So aim, and I add my ent, and I need to make this negative, so I'm going to put my n apostrophe in front and my pas right after it. And then to study is étudier. So we have ils n'aiment pas étudier. So looking at this the way it's presented to you in your textbook, à la page 98, le présent des verbes en ER, forme affirmative et forme négative. Compare the affirmative and negative forms of parler. S'il vous plaît, répétez, je parle. Sorry about that. Let's try it again. S'il vous plaît, répétez, je parle. Tu parles. Il parle. Nous parlons. Vous parlez. Il parle. To make these negative, notice our ne and our pas go around our verb parler. S'il vous plaît, répétez. Je ne parle pas. Tu ne parles pas. Elle ne parle pas. Nous ne parlons pas. Vous ne parlez pas. Elle ne parle pas. Rappel. The negative form of the verb follows the pattern subject ne, verb pas, and our ne becomes an apostrophe before a vowel sound. So, il ne travaille pas ici, and je n'invite pas Pierre. Right? So, he doesn't work here. I am not inviting Pierre. Il ne travaille pas. Il n'écoute pas. Elle ne chante pas bien. So, he doesn't work. They don't listen. She doesn't sing well. Language comparisons. English has several verb forms for expressing actions in the present. In French, there is only one form. Compare. Je joue au tennis might translate as I play tennis. I do play tennis. I am playing tennis. Je ne joue pas au tennis can translate as I do not play tennis or I don't play tennis. I am not playing tennis or I'm not playing tennis. Let's take a look at exercise 11 on je weekend. On weekends, people like to do different things. For each person, pick an activity and say what that person does. Select another activity and say what that person does not do. Okay, so again, we'll just I'll do a couple examples and you can kind of practice doing these as well. So our example is Antoine and Isabel. So they picked dance and watching television. So Antoine et Isabelle dansent. Ils ne regardent pas la télé. So for je, if I use jouer au jeu vidéo and jouer au basket, right? I might have je joue au jeu vidéo. Je ne joue pas au basket. So number 2, if we use écouter la radio and regarder la télé, you might have tu écoutes la radio, tu ne regardes pas la télé. For toi, ma cousine, if we use jouer au jeu vidéo and danser, ma cousine joue au jeu vidéo, elle ne danse pas. 4, for nous, if we use étudier and nager, nous étudions, nous ne nageons pas. Numéro 5, Nicolas et Elodie, if we use regarder la télé and jouer au basket. Nicolas et Elodie regardent la télé, ils ne jouent pas au basket. 6, Madame Joliette, if we use travailler and écouter la radio. Madame Joliette travaille, elle n'écoute pas la radio. 7, for vous, if we use jouer au basket and nager. Vous jouez au basket, vous ne nagez pas. Et numéro 8, if we use for le professeur nager and travailler. Le professeur nage, il ne travaille pas. So some vocabulary, right? Some useful words. These are all adverbs. S'il vous plaît, répétez bien. Bien. Je joue bien au tennis. Très bien. Très bien. Je ne chante pas très bien. Mal. Mal. Tu joues mal au volley. Beaucoup. Beaucoup. Paul aime beaucoup voyager. Un peu. Un peu. Nous parlons un peu français. Souvent. Souvent. Thomas joue souvent aux jeux vidéo. Toujours. Toujours. Charlotte travaille toujours en été. Aussi. Aussi. Je téléphone à Marc. Je téléphone aussi à Véronique. Maintenant. Maintenant. J'étudie maintenant. Rarement. Rarement. Vous voyagez rarement. In French, the above expressions never come between the subject and the verb. They usually come after the verb. Compare their positions in French and English. Nous parlons toujours français. We always speak French, but notice the always comes after the verb in French. Tu joues bien au tennis. You play tennis well. Again, notice that the word well comes after. So again, what they're kind of pointing out here is what we talked about already, is that these adverbs follow the verbs in the sentences in French. Working through the translation of these sentences, I play tennis well. I don't sing very well. You play volleyball badly. Paul likes to travel a lot. We speak a little French. Thomas often plays video games. Charlotte always works in the summer. I call Mark. I also call Veronica. I'm studying now. You rarely travel. How to express approval or regret. S'il vous plaît, répétez. Super. Super. Tu parles français? Super. Dommage. Dommage. Tu ne joues pas au tennis? Dommage. So the first one is saying you like or you speak French? Super. Terrific. You don't play tennis? Too bad. Right, D. La construction verb plus infinitive. Note the use of the infinitive in the following French sentences. So this is the two verbs in one sentence. J'aime parler français. Il n'aime pas danser. To express what they like and don't like to do, the French use the constructions subject, present tense of aimer, infinitive, or subject and apostrophe, present tense of aimer, pas, infinitive. Okay, so the most common verb that you do this with is aimer. S'il vous plaît, répétez. J'aime parler français. Il n'aime pas danser. Nous aimons voyager. Nous n'aimons pas voyager. Note that in this construction, the verb aimer may be affirmative or negative. So affirmative, Jacques aime voyager. Negative, Philippe n'aime pas voyager. So again, you can still have affirmative or negative. The infinitive is also used after the following expressions. So because these are all verbs, préfère, voudrait, veut, peut, and doit, the second verb in these sentences has to be in an infinitive. S'il vous plaît, répétez. Je préfère. Je préfère travailler. Je voudrais. Je voudrais voyager. Je veux. Je ne veux pas. Je veux jouer au foot. Est-ce que tu veux? Est-ce que tu veux danser? Je peux. Je ne peux pas. Je ne peux pas dîner avec toi. Je dois. Je dois étudier. Working through those sentences. I prefer to work. I would like to travel. I want to play soccer. Do you want to dance? I can't have dinner with you. I have to study. Exercice 15, une excellente raison. The following people are doing certain things. Say that they like these activities. So look at our example prompt. We have Thomas joue au tennis. So we want to make it il aime jouer au tennis. So notice, okay, our subject stays the same. We're going to insert the correct form of aimer, right? So here are the forms of aimer, right? J'aime, it's a regular ER verb. To aime, with the ES. Il or elle, aime, ending in an E. Nous aimons, AIMONS. Vous aimez, and il and elle pluriel, aime. Okay. Then notice that joue becomes its infinitive form, right? So it changes to its infinitive because it's become the second verb in the sentence. And then the rest of the sentence is still there. So we have il aime jouer au tennis. So number one, Alice chante would become Alice aime chanter. So go ahead and try these. Numéro 2, Pierre voyage. Il aime voyager. 3. Céline joue au foot. Elle aime jouer au foot. 4. Tu téléphones. Tu aimes téléphoner. Numéro 5. Nous travaillons. Nous aimons travailler. Numéro 6. Julie et Paul dansent. Ils aiment danser. 5. Nous jouons au frisbee. Nous aimons jouer au frisbee. Numéro 8. Eric et Lise nagent. Ils aiment nager. 9. Vous surfez sur l'Internet. Vous aimez surfer sur l'Internet. 10. Lia organise la boum. Elle aime organiser la boum. Prononciation les voyelles. Ou and ici. Be sure to pronounce the French I as in Mimi. S'il vous plaît, répétez ici. Philippe. Il. Mimi. Sylvie. Visite. Alice visite Paris avec Sylvie. Ou. Nous. Vous. Écoute. Joue. Tu joues. Vous jouez au foot avec nous. So your homework is exercises 4 and 15. Exercise 4, we did this one the other day out loud. You want to know where the following people are. A classmate tells you and says what they are doing. So you don't have to write the question. So not necessary to write the question. You're just going to write the answers. So we have Jacques. So we want to say he is in class, he is studying. So we have il est en classe, il étudie. So your first sentence is always going to use a conjugated form of the verb être. Okay, and then your second sentence is going to use the second verb in parentheses. So for example, number 1, Pauline, would be Pauline est au restaurant. And then L, because I don't want to write Pauline's name again, and I could have even put L here if I had wanted. Okay, L, Dean, ending in an E because the subject is L. So you're going to write out the 2 sentences like that for the 7 of those. For exercise 15, we did this one out loud, right? The verb we're going to conjugate in all of our sentences is going to be aimer. Okay, and the verb that's currently conjugated is going to become in its infinitive. So number 1 is going to be L, M, ending in an E to match L, and then chanter becomes in its infinitive, it's ER ending. So you're going to write sentences like that for the 10 of them. Au revoir, à demain.